everybody, welcome back to A Glittery Life. Well, today I have a product review for you, kind of a just maybe an introduction to a new brand that you're not familiar with, and just kind of like a worth the hype video. Not that there's a lot of hype yet, but I have a feeling there might be at some point. So I just wanted to get a good, honest review out there for you. Today I'm going to be talking all about the Makeup Atelier Paris eyeshadow quints. These are 5 pan eyeshadow palettes from Paris, just launched at Beautylish. They are probably the only place that you can really get these. I think it's otherwise been very difficult to get these. And I picked up 4 of them. I've been playing with them for the last 2 weeks, really kind of just testing them out, seeing what I think, seeing how they work, seeing just the texture, all that kind of stuff, because they're a little bit different than a normal eyeshadow, a normal palette that I've played with. So these palettes, 5 eyeshadow pans in them. It's 12.5 grams for the palette. They're made in France, and Beautylish just recently launched these, started carrying these. I think otherwise it's difficult to get your hands on these. There's 14 different palettes of 14 different quints, and they retail for $35, which I think is a good price point for a quint, especially when I think about how much Tom Ford and some of the other quints are, or quads are. This is a good price. This is definitely a pro packaging. This isn't your typical like fashion Chanel like package. This is very much like a pro kit packaging. Even just kind of the way that these, the way you could stack these in a bag in a kit, it's very like pro kit to me. The way that it's like the round pans that you could pop out and put in a larger Z palette, and just like see through the clear lid, very professional packaging. So I like that. I like each palette tells a nice color story, and you'll see that as I kind of show you the 4 that I picked up. I picked up 4 really different ones, not necessarily 4 that I would normally gravitate towards. Like this is a really good example of one that I would not traditionally gravitate towards, but I thought some of you are going to really be into this one. This is Amazon T18, and I'm going to swatch them all for you as well. I want to start with the 2 that I liked the most and just kind of show you those first. And that is, oopsie, sorry, this is upside down. T15 Honey Brown. Oh my gosh, I could not stop wearing this. In fact, all last week in all my videos, this is the one I was wearing. And then this is T19 Wood Pink. And every time I wore this, people stopped me and commented on my eyeshadow. And which is funny because I don't wear pink eyeshadow very often. So I was pretty excited about that. These eyeshadows are waterproof, like sweat resistant, or water resistant, sorry, water resistant, perspiration sweat resistant, tear resistant, and that's kind of different than a normal eyeshadow. So these are going to be great for the summertime, especially if you live somewhere humid. It's going to stand the test of your weather and your day. These eyeshadows have a unusual consistency in the sense that they're kind of hard. Well, some of them are really like soft and buttery. Like all the ones I just touched right now are like really soft and buttery. But there is something in some of them that just feels like a little bit like stiff. Those are swatches for this one right here, Honey Brown. Once you start really working with it, I feel like the stiffness of it goes away. So I don't know if it's just because they're really tightly pressed, but the first time you swatch it, you might not be that impressed. But what do I always say? You cannot trust swatches. Like just because this swatch is nice doesn't mean that it's going to apply nice. But I do have to say these are so beautiful. They blend out really easily on the eye. They keep a lot of pigmentation. They're easy to build up. They're easy to kind of like just transition. And they're just really, they're just a win for me. I gotta just say thumbs up. I like the price point. I like the packaging. I like the product. There's a whole lot of things I like about it. But this one is probably the showstopper for me and the one that I've worn the most, which makes sense with a blue eye. This is going to be a great compliment, but I actually think this is neutral enough that you could wear this if you like a cool tone or warm tone eye. You wouldn't have to, because this is a much cooler shade. This is a cooler shade. You've got some warm ones in the center, but really kind of versatile. So once again, I wanted to show you those shades. You can see from that like shimmer shade. This one does not have, none of these are true mattes. This is a little bit close to a matte, but it's kind of more of like a sheer wash of color. But the rest of them have a little bit of shimmer in them. And I wouldn't even call it shimmer. I would say like a sheen. It has like a little bit of like a sheen in it. Now this one, which is T19, which is Wood Pink, is interesting. It's all matte. In fact, I wish that one of these had a shimmer in it, like 4 mattes, 1 shimmer, but this is all matte. Not mad at it. It's definitely beautiful. It's definitely a beautiful palette to work with, but I always had to come back in with something on my inner corner because I can't just do an all matte eye. It's not my preference. I do like a little bit of shimmer, but for those of you who love a good matte palette, this is awesome. And I do find that it's so hard to find good pink mattes. These ones really are great. So that is the swatches for Wood Pink, that top one up there. And you know, kind of what I was trying to find on the other palette is this, like this shadow right here. It's got a little bit of that weird texture. It's like just such a different texture. And I think unfortunately YouTube has like done people disservice that if it doesn't swatch buttery and creamy and you can't say all that stuff, you're like, this shadow sucks. That's not the case. You know, Viseart is a different texture. Natasha Denona is a different texture. Loraque's a different texture. Makeup Geek's a different texture. Every eyeshadow has a different texture to it. But this one especially has that kind of like that stiffer, kind of almost, you'll have to just swatch it. I don't even know the right words. But even my friend Katie on Snapchat, she was like, texted me, she was like, are your it's Makeup Atelier shadows like really hard and weird? And I was like, yes, but play with it. Don't let that discourage you. Put it on the eye. Like, don't just swatch it and write it off. Put it on your eye and fall in love. And she texted me back. She was like, oh my gosh, this is eyeshadow perfection. So it really is. And these are so pretty. So this is an all matte palette. And even that like lighter shade is a really nice matte highlight. That would be beautiful on the brow bone. This is one of my favorite shades. It's almost like, is it plum? Is it purple? Is it black? Like, is it indigo? Like, it's a really kind of difficult one to choose, like kind of what the actual shade is, but it really does come off as a beautiful plum, beautiful on the lower line, beautiful in the crease. I like it in the outer V. It's just, this is a very like dynamic pink eyeshadow palette. And considering I've never been a real pink eyeshadow fan, I cannot believe how much I've used this one. The next one I want to talk about is T24. This is Urban Gray, and I was immediately drawn to this. This is a great palette. It's a mix of kind of like more of like a shimmer to almost like more like a pearl. Nothing matte in this one, unlike the pink one. So I want to swatch these for you because this is a really cool, unusual, beautiful palette. So here is the swatches of Urban Gray. And this highlight shade, I actually preferred this one a lot to I love this palette, the Honey Brown, but I'm not crazy, to be honest, about this top highlight shade. It looks pretty white there. And let me just swatch it for you kind of like on top of that one. And you'll see that it's more of a, this is way too hard to see, but it's way more of a yellow gold. It definitely has a duochrome shift. I just felt like it was a little bit harder for me to wear with my skin tone. On a darker skin tone, this would be really spectacular, but the really sheer shimmer highlight on this one that leans a little bit more to that champagne color is just a lot more, it's a lot easier for me to wear. And then when you're looking at this palette, you're going to be feeling like they're all so dark, and I want to show you that they're not. In fact, shade 3 and 4 are like a sheer wash. Kind of like a really pretty taupey gray brown, like I don't even know how it's taupey gray brown is the best way I can describe it, but they are pretty sheer. That's a good swatch of those. And so they have like more of that like layered effect. Like you could actually put it over something as a wash. And then you can see this last shade, shade 5, has definitely got the most color payoff of this one. And then shade 2 is a little bit more on that silver, kind of like silver gray tone. And it swatches matte. It swatches like it looks like a matte, but it's definitely not. It does have a little bit of shimmer in it. So, but this is pretty mild shimmer. I would definitely call these more of like a satin, or like, I think Matt calls these like velvets, because there's not like chunky glitter. There's not a ton of like shimmer. Even on my hand, they don't look shimmery. They just have like reflection in them. So like light reflecting, maybe like pigment. But this is a really cool palette. This is a great take on a neutral smoky eye. If you have a really hard time doing a smoky eye because it looks like somebody punched you in the face, because you always go to like a black eyeshadow, First off, we never do smoky eyes with black eyeshadow to start out with, but this is a really great, if you just like that like neutral, taupe, smoky, like sexy eye that's pretty effortless, a little bit more, even a little bit more of like a utilitarian look to your makeup, this is for you. You have to get this one. And the last one that I picked up for you is palette number 18. This is Amazon. And this is the one that's sort of kind of like least resonated with me. I don't know why. Every time I try to create an eye look with this, I just feel like it gets messy. It just kind of gets a little bit muddy for me. It's not really in my wheelhouse in terms of colors that I gravitate towards. So that might be part of it. But even just in terms of using it, I haven't quite worked out a great eye look with this one. Like the other ones, I could whip out a good eye look in 5 minutes, like no problem. Just initial reaction, like looking at them straight away. I'm like, oh, I love this. I can do this so easily. But this is the one that's really been a struggle for me. I'm going to swatch these for you and you can see, and you might kind of see why. And if I was going to return any of them, I'm not going to return them, but if I was going to, because I want to keep playing with them, but if I was going to return one, it would definitely be this one. Not because of like quality, but just for me personally, the performance hasn't been as good as the others. And I think you can kind of see this one, and I think this is why I've had some performance issues with this, is it just feels a little bit patchier. Now, most of these are a little bit more on that sheer side, and you've got some really interesting colors. You've got this like yellow gold. You've got more of like a kind of a chartreuse like gold here. You've got more of like an olive green, but it's sheer. And this one's a little bit more of like a sheer bronze green. And then this one is a more of a kind of like a darker teal, I guess I would call that, like a darker cerulean, actually very close to the color of the shirt that I have on. So, but it's just kind of, they're all kind of thin in terms of pigmentation. The other three are wow in pigmentation. They're, even the ones that are sheer still have a lot of payoff and a lot of color, and they're easy to build and blend. And this one, the Amazon, was just, has been difficult for me to work with, and really has been the only one that I wouldn't give like 5 stars to. I wouldn't give high marks to this one. I think the other three you can't go wrong with, and I can't wait to get my hands on some of the other ones to swatch them. And I don't know, the only other person that I've really seen do any videos on these is Wayne Goss, and hopefully some more people will be getting these. I have seen some people snapping about these on Snapchat, and if you're not following me on Snapchat, at @TrishaLee_W, you can go ahead and snap me if you want to see some closer swatches of these. I'm happy to like do that for you. But really overall, I've got to give these palettes a 5. I think they're awesome. Price is right. Company that you order them is right. And the Beautylish experience you just can't go wrong with. So other than Amazon, so 3 out of 4 were 100% across the board 5s for me, and Amazon is probably about a 3.5 for me. So I hope that's helpful for you. Let me know if you have any questions down below about these, and I'll link them all down below for you. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thumbs up this video, and let me know if you're going to try any of these. Thanks, you guys. Have a good week. Bye.